every gang, right? I don't care whether it was back from the 1920s and the 30s. Everybody want to have the gang that stands out. When it was just West Side Crips, East and West Side Crips, you didn't have anybody right to say, oh, you disrespected my hood, because you were still just one. But once you start breaking them up and somebody disrespected you, guess what? Now you got to show that other gang that you tougher than them. That's where the major violence came in.
I got to be a hustle till the that I die. I got from RSC to the day that I die. Look, I hustle till the block done, till the motherfucking cops come and shoot till the shot's done.
I had a lot of gun battles when I was young, and me and Monster used to shoot each other frequently. And one time we was at the park one time, and we caught each other, and we still started just throwing rounds at each other, broad daylight. The whole park picked up their shit and started running. We running out the back of the park shooting at each other. Then we ended up on Western, right in the 80s, a broad daylight shootout, me, Monster, Rayford, some of the homies, on foot. We didn't even go in a car. Broad daylight, 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the afternoon. You know, and it's amazing how you could have got away with a lot of gun battles back then, but you can't pull that shit now.
Why not?
Because all you gotta do is just hear a shot, and the camera gonna have you from 6 different angles, even under your feet. Back then, they didn't have cameras. They didn't have no gang laws, and a lot of people don't know this, and I'm gonna tell you this. A lot of gang members always think that their era was the worst. Our era was the worst. Our era was the one that brought on gang injunctions, changed the gang laws. In 1986, a lot of people don't know this either. They were gonna bring the National Guard down to LA to clean up gangbanging because it got that bad. It got that bad. That's why things is the way they are now. We didn't have no gang unit and none of that crap back then. It was like the Wild Wild West, free range gun battles, you know? But the thing about it is now a lot of the guys that I did have gun battles with, we talk now, we cool. I got, you know, they give me, I got much respect for them, they got much respect for me. You know, but that's the thing about it is, everybody's now in their mid-50s, 60 years old or above. So we look back on it as a learning lesson in the tool, right? To show that, hey, we didn't make it through this, right? But if we hadn't, hell, a lot of homies that got killed 30, from everywhere that got killed 30, 35 years ago, didn't even know what a cell phone was or a flat screen TV. They'll never get to know none of that, you know, because they died with a bubble TV and a VCR when it was still in style. So I'm glad a lot of us that made it through it, we could talk to each other and be cordial, you know what I'm saying? Hit each other on Facebook, hey, love you, homie, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what I like about a lot of us that came home, that we can talk to each other, right? Without no animosity towards each other. It's funny, I'm gonna tell you something that was crazy. When Tookie caught his case, right, I got out the county jail, right, for another shooting. And I got on the Western bus near Vernon. I walked to the back of the bus, guess who I see? Jamel Barnes. He cut all his hair off. When he seen me, he said, what's going on, pretty? He said, what's how they treating Took? I said, yeah, he's still fighting his case because he hadn't got convicted yet. He said something to me that really fucked me up. He said, hey man, it's time to stop all the crazy shit, man, we doing, man. You know, and when he said that, right, by me being young, I'm like, damn, man, you sound like you talking scary talk. You know? So we kicked it for like about 4 months after that. He ended up buying a 64 Dodge Dart, then ended up getting a 75 a blue Pinto. And after 4 months, I just got tired hanging around him, you know?
So he was hating on Tookie or what?
Let me tell you something. What he did on TV, I didn't like that. When he got on TV and said what he said about Took, that had them white folks to execute him like that, I couldn't tolerate that. In the early 80s, yeah, we had some homies that used to kick it with the Clanton 14s, right? Because we didn't have really no animosity toward Mexicans back then. One, a lot of us hadn't been to prison yet, you know, to learn the politics and, you know, about who didn't like each other in this. But we did used to kick it with it. Matter of fact, we used to have some Mexicans that lived in our neighborhood off of Hyde Park and 11th Ave that was banging from there. But we accepted them, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't a large group of them, but we knew him, you know? So we didn't have no problems with him back then.
You know, some of them used to claim RSC 14.
Yes, a lot of them did used to claim RSC 14, a lot of the Clantone 14s. A lot of them did claim that back then, you know? But like I say, now that this new era then came along, right? Hey, you know, a lot of the older homeboys are telling them, hey, that's, no.
When did you first know the F-13 moved into the hood?
I was already in, I think I was already in the joint when that happened. When the F-13 started easing in the neighborhood, I was already in the joint, but I had been hearing about it. And I used to call out to the streets, and the homies used to keep me up on what was going on in the neighborhood. But a lot of them, they did move over there, you know. And my concern was, how deep were y'all gonna get before it turned into a problem? That was the problem, because anytime you let a neighborhood come in your neighborhood, right, and start to grow, you already see a future problem getting ready to go down. You already see that's getting ready to happen. So that was my concern when I was in the joint, you know. But I'm glad that our neighborhood, you know what I'm saying, kept it strong. And a lot of other neighborhoods, UGs, the hundreds, the 90s, Harlems, you know, all the major ones that was back from the 70s. So they kept it strong, and I gotta give them much love for that. You know, but I knew, in my case, see, I knew a lot of the Harlems. I knew a lot of the 111s, UGs, all of them. I used to run with all of them back in the days. Matter of fact, the day I got arrested, when they told me the police was looking for me, I was skating in each other's neighborhood trying to find a place to hide. I ran down to the 30s. They 30 said the sheriff's looking for you. I ran down to the 111s. They said they looking for you over there. I ended up in the 90 hood, and as soon as me and my boy got in the car, got arrested.
What was the 90s doing back then?
See, I'm gonna tell you something. A lot of people see the 90s, you had two sets of 90s. You had the 90 gangsters that was on the western side, and you had the 90 Hoovers. And by the time I was on my way to, before I got locked up, the 90 Hoovers started running with the 90 gangsters. Then by the time I got locked up, I heard from my boy Ghost, and he wanted me to know if I would get any homies that would back them, because they got in a lot of trouble back then. So I told him I'd talk to a few homies and see how they stand. A lot of them didn't want to be with it, you know what I'm saying, because it was, you know, we was already still at war, and they didn't want a new war.
So y'all was warring with the 90 gangsters?
No, we was not warring with the 90 gangsters. Yeah, but the 90 gangsters actually ran with us. But the 90 gangsters dropped the gangster, and the 90 Hoovers end up getting tight with the 90 gangsters, and they start calling themselves 90 West Coast. Then later on, they turned around to 90 neighborhood. That's how that happened. But it was that we ended up being real tight. But the a lot of people don't even know that the 90 gangsters was the original 90s on the Western, you know.
And they hung at Jesse Owens?
Yeah, they were just writing back at Jesse Owens, wow. You know. And a lot of them, you know, passed and went on, but you know, you got a lot of them still around doing their thing.
Did you know Cody Brown?
Yeah, that was my boy. Him and his brother Kerry Brown, you know what I'm saying, and all of them. I knew the whole family. I used to be over their house all the time.
What type of guy was Cody?
Cody, Cody, you know what I'm saying, he did his thing. He wasn't no punk, you know, and he'll scrap with you in a minute. That was my boy, but right before I went in, back in the days, he started making money. He kind of calmed down, but he was about his money. Matter of fact, him and all his brothers was about their money, you know. And I got to give it to him. He was that guy, you know. Now, you know, it hurt me to find out he had died. He had passed away, medical complications, you know. I haven't seen his brother Kerry since I've been home, you know, and or Mick. But hoping I can run into them one day and see how they doing, you know.
Cody was a fly type of guy, huh?
Yeah, he was. I like Cody, you know what I'm saying, because he had his head straight on him.
Speaking of being fly, where'd you get your style of dress from?
Oh, I got my style of dress from the monsters of the 30s and the 20s. I always liked to dress back then, even when I was young, you know. If I had some of my early pictures from the 70s and the 80s, I always was suited, always had a hat. But I'm gonna tell you something, a lot of the homies was like that too, you know. My boy Doe used to be a fly dresser back then. He used to have the Borsalino hats on, and my boy John, all of them used to be dressed. All of us used to be dressed. I mean, dressed. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. We had our khakis and, you know, in the 501s and crocus sacks and stuff like that. But when we used to go places, mob the parties, oh yeah, we used to have the hats on. We be dressed. You know, shit. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with that. But I still kept up the tradition, as you can see on Facebook. I still keep my suits and hats. You know, because I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna lose that. Because once you start losing it, you start getting sloppy. Then you start just dressing any type of way. I was gonna come dressed today, you know what I'm saying? But it's too hot for that.
Start looking like me.
Yeah, it was too hot for that, you know? But, you know, like I said, a lot of the homies that came home in the last couple of years, I'm glad they made it out, you know, and doing good. And they still looking good too. A lot of them still look the same way as we went in. That's what kind of shocked me, you know, but we did keep ourselves up.
You know what's crazy? A lot of lifers that got out never went back.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you why. See, a lot of lifers don't go back for a reason. You know how hard it is to get a parole date? When you go to that board and they get to talking crazy to you every time you show up, they don't get, see, when they talk crazy to you, about 85% of the time you're gonna get denied. They just wanna see how mad it can make you, right? And see if you can blow it, and they say, okay, that's a fire tonight. But the thing about it is, a lot of people don't know this. They already have your date. They already have your date already set if you're gonna get one when you go in there, and your denial already set when you go in there. That's a lot of people didn't know this. Somebody put me up on that a long time ago, and I used to look across that table and see that paper was already at the denial already checked off. 1 year.
Is it true they want you to admit to your crime?
They do. They want you to admit to your crime. When you go in there, if you admit to it, right, they feel like, okay, that's the piece of the puzzle. And if you do admit to it, I'm gonna tell you something. Even if you admitted to it, right, and you got your life sentence, they're gonna make up something else to tell you why you getting denied. Oh, we found some confidential stuff on the yard. Oh, you had a fight 2 years ago. Oh, we found that you smoked weed 10 years ago. That's how petty it is. That's why I don't advise no homie, I don't care who they are, to catch a life sentence. Because what you gotta go through will make you blow a gasket. And I almost tripped out. I got to the point where I got null and void with it. I just go to the board and listen to what they got to say and just the hell with y'all and leave. And they say, you ain't gonna admit to it? I said, no, I'm not gonna admit to nothing. I just told you I don't know anything about this case.
When you was gone, did anybody put in any kite calling you an enemy?
Oh yeah, I had a lot of enemies. But see, a lot of people that put the enemy kites in on me was people that I did shit to, or people that took the stand on me. And I had a lot of people take the stand on me. So yeah, it was the enemy list in my jacket, you know. But if you get a case, right, where you got another gang testify against you, and y'all might end up in prison one day, and he's scared of you, you best believe you're gonna get that enemy list. You're gonna get that enemy list, because you might want to go down to a prison near LA, and guess what's gonna happen?
Denied.
They're gonna tell you denied. Why I got denied? Well, you got an enemy here named Joe Fool, and he says that he told on you back in the. Now you looking at, look, I ain't tripping off because you told. I'm just trying to get to the house, but they ain't gonna let you go, you know. And the guys that told on me, you know, I don't want to see them. I ain't gonna go looking for them, but I don't want to see them. The guys that sent me to prison, I don't want to see them either. And that's some real talk. You know, but I'm not gonna go stalking them either. But I don't want to run across them also.
When you was gone, did you lose any family members?
I lost everybody in my family when I was gone. My mom's died right before I got out. And
my condolences.
so yeah, everybody got wiped out. So when I came out, it was like, wow. And it wasn't like it was a whole new world to me, because I'm gonna be honest with you. Whenever I got out, somebody said, hey, do the hood look different? I said, look, ain't nothing different from the hood. So you move to McDonald's 10 blocks down this way. So what? It's still a McDonald's. But all the houses through the neighborhood still look the same. The only thing we got is probably about 40% more or 50% more bums now. You know, that's the only thing that's different.
What
and that's
about Mexicans?
Yeah, and that too. I came out and I was like, wow, I ain't never seen so many Mexicans in my life. You know, because when I left the street, it was basically predominantly black. You know?
What goals do you have left?
See, my goals I have left now, keep a stable job and push this music. See, because like I said, I want to be comfortable when I die. You know, I don't want to be struggling. You know, I don't want to have to go to the hood and ask the homies for anything. You know, I want to be comfortable when I leave this earth. So like I said, I'm gonna push this music, and if I only get like a couple of million out of it, hey, you know what I'm saying, or get somebody to listen to it, you know, at least I done something. Everybody can say, well, he finally did something before he died. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just it was just an ass to the end.
I'm from where if you don't knock, you get knocked on. Thunderdome, you don't sock, you get socked on. You come a boy, you leave a man, that's how I got grown. My real life is better than these niggas' rap songs. Guns, money, bitches, and a fast car. Couple 100,000 buried in my backyard. I'm a real nigga, I don't gotta act hard. Try me if you wanna watch how I reverse that charge.